Hare Krishna. All right. You can start. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachari Nirvishesha Shanyavadi Paschatya Deshatari Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhubhyaeva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we, as living beings, are given certain instruments to work with. All living beings. And without them, it becomes difficult to express yourself. These instruments are called as the senses. Right? Because we have gotten used to them functioning day in and day out, we over the importance that they have in our lives. When was the last time we took care of our senses? Did we pay attention to our senses? So what are the senses? They are called as indriya. Just as the word Indra, the word Indriya has the same verbal root. So what do you know about Indra? Have you heard about Indra? Or in the West we call it Indra. You heard? Is there anyone who hasn't heard about Indra? Okay. So two of the boys, they put up their hands. So would you like to tell us what you know about Indra? First you and then. Okay, first you. All right.
In Sanskrit, there's like comes from Ibi, that I mentioned again, he who is ultimately prosperous. So in there is he who is prosperous. And I know that he also was he it's about
Okay. So how did you? What was the declension there? Or how did you split up the word?
so Ibi Parameshwari is the top.
Iti Parameshwari is the understanding of Indra? Okay. All right.
It was like he did one in the Veda, he in the Vedas, like so like yeah.
He's mentioned a lot in the Vedas. That's true. So both of you are correct. So typically there's a prefix to this word that is E. Yeah. The verbal root would be from the word dra. Dra is dravya. Dravya means things, objects. So basically all sense objects. Everything that's the creation is dravya. And E also signifies Isha or ruler. So why do we call Indra the king of the celestials? Why do we call him the king of the devas? Because he has authority over all the sense objects. Okay. So Indriya is a similar word coming from, or it is a word that comes from a similar verbal root. It is to do with objects. So the senses are relevant because they are sense objects. So what are Indriya? Indriya are those that help us control the object of the senses or interact with the object of the senses. Hence, without that, it becomes difficult to express yourself. It's not impossible, but it is difficult. For example, close your eyes, close your eyelids. Most of the information that you can receive is now in darkness, isn't it? The eyes shut. You have to use your sense of touch, sense of hearing, sense of smell. So when was the last time we said thank you to our eyes? We always say thank you to the deities. We always say thank you to the devotees who worship the deities. We always say thank you to people, our parents who help us. What about thanking our own eyes? You don't. So we do Ashram and then touch it to the eyes. We say we purify the eyes, but it is also offering gratitude to the eyes. You touch your fingers like that. Then you touch your fingers to your ears to keep it rejuvenated. But for us, Ashram is simply sipping water. You take first drop, sip it, discard. Take second drop, sip it, discard. So that becomes a ritual. So when we are connecting ourselves to the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Lord exists adhere to in our body. And therefore, treating our own body with respect is important. And so we try to keep this body as compatible as possible for the body to function to its utmost. The maximum potential that this body has is that it can serve as a boat to take us across the ocean of birth and death. That is its maximum potential. Simply making a statement does not help us access that potential. Hence, we train our eyes, we train our ears, we train our nose, the tongue, the sense of touch. We train. Because now the senses can work in coordination, in cooperation, they can work to become that comfortable boat to go across the ocean of machines, the ocean of birth and death. Yes? So the body itself is a platform to become knowledgeable. Many times we look at the body as a material body made up of the mode of ignorance. And therefore we try to be harsh towards our bodily existence. Being harsh towards any object is not a healthy state of consciousness. It is called austerity in the mode of ignorance. I think somewhere in the one of his purports in the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada makes a statement about how you should not unnecessarily fast because it troubles your Paramatma. Maybe Prabhupada got a call from the Paramatma and he Paramatma told him that please pass on this message to the practitioners. Don't mistreat the facility that Supreme Lord has offered to us. So the senses are very helpful. There are two kinds of senses. There are the senses, or there are two ways the senses function. There are the senses that help us gather knowledge, receive knowledge, data. And there are the senses that try to achieve certain goals that we come up with in our life based on the knowledge that we have received. So knowledge without being transformed into goals is simply data. Google is better equipped to do that. So AI is not challenging Google. How is it challenging Google? It is making analysis more dynamic. Yeah. So Google's old time, right? Whatever data is available, Google just puts it to you. So now AI has come like, this is what is best for you, best version for you. So analysis with a goal. Google does not offer you clear-cut understanding of goal. AI does that for you. It's like, this is the best version of yourself, this is the best version of your spouse, this is the best version of your country, this is the best version of the food that you can eat, this is the best version of the essay that you can write. But you ask Google, Google will give you so many options, and then you have to scroll through all of that and like wonder. So Google has data. What AI has done is, has gone a little further. It is giving you goals, clear-cut understanding of what you should be achieving. So previously, Google was God, now AI will actually prove to be God in that sense. This rationalization is being expressed because that is what happens organically. Organically, there are people that simply store data. And amongst them, there would be a few that sets goals. Manushanam sahasreshu kashyap yatiti siddhe. Siddhe is goal setter. Siddha means to achieve goals. That is siddhi. So siddhe are those who are goal getters. They set goals and they try to achieve their goals. Amongst them, there would be a few that would actually try to understand the root of everything. Yatatapi siddhanam kashyamam vitti tattva. So the senses help us to receive knowledge. They are called as knowledge acquiring senses. I saw that. I tell you, I saw. So yeah, sharing knowledge, knowledge acquired. Where did you get that knowledge from? I saw. What did you see? Did you see with your eyes? No, I saw with my glasses on. Ultimately, it is nice. I tell you, that place has a stink. How do you know that? You're sharing that information. How do you know that? You experienced it. How? The sense of smell. Ah, today they are making pasta. The sense of smell. Hey, Mara's car is right there at the corner. Everybody like, run. How did you get that information? The ears. Now supposing you have your noise cancelling pods there. Where is everyone running off to? So, knowledge acquiring senses, they are so very important. Right from the time you wake up, what time is it there? And we are not even having time, at least on a weekly basis, to say, hey, today let me relax. Let me just express my gratitude to my eyes. Let me just express my gratitude to my nostrils. Well, we have given it a very, I don't know, catchy name, pranayama. Basically, it just means that we acknowledge the existence of this instrument. And there are various other ways, like people stick out their tongue or they do gargling as a ritual every day. Take care of the sense of the voice, speech. But we only do it when we have a sore throat. So basically, somehow or the other, the idea of being ungrateful is much closer to home than we realize. And no wonder it's so difficult to manifest gratitude. In fact, to manifest gratitude, you have to go to a printing press, print out a certificate, and hand it to someone. Certificate of appreciation. The number of ways we are offering such certificates of appreciation today, like every hour we may have to offer a certificate of appreciation for the eyes to a ears. Therefore, we worship the Sun God. Therefore, we worship the Ashwini Kumars or Indra. We worship them. We pay our tributes to them. Why? Because they represent the senses. Varuna, the sense of taste. Just as if a devotee gives you a lift, you appreciate them. If somebody plays the mridanga for you, we appreciate them. But you say they are all demigods, we don't appreciate. We appreciate them. We worship them. What does it mean we worship them? The word worship in English is a little illusory because it simply expresses that you hold someone in great esteem. The word puja does not always carry that connotation. You can offer puja to a plant. Can you worship a plant? No, we only worship Tulasi plant. But you offer puja to any plant. You can do that. Why? We received benefit. We have received some help, some contribution. If the word puja is a little different from its English translation as worship. It simply means that you accept the existence of someone's contribution in your life. Then what is the worship of the Supreme Lord called as? Sevaya. So therefore the word seva in colloquial English should be worship. It will be called service, but when you say seva unto Krishna, it will be called worship of Krishna. But devotional service unto Krishna. So how do you offer devotional service unto Krishna? You take a lamb, you take some food and offer. So those articles are articles of puja. Technically, the Sanskrit word is Deva Puja or Ishta Puja. In English, it is deity worship. So, Seva and Puja are a little different. Puja, you acknowledge the contribution of another entity, and Seva is where you feel impelled to serve someone, to offer some contribution in their existence. So senses, right? They're very helpful. Knowledge acquiring senses, called as Gyan Indriyas, and the working senses, called as the karmendriyas. And someone who is very, very expert in engaging his senses in an exceptional way, that person is called as Indriya Swami or Goswami. So we have tools, we have instruments, we have to become experts at using it, right? So who's a Goswami? Oh, most of us have heard that word and we know the translation. A Goswami is someone who is in complete control of their senses. How do you understand it? Everything shut down because that's the only way to control. But then we say, no, we can engage the senses in Krishna's service, and that is also how you control. So, how do we engage the senses in Krishna's service? The first example is chant the holy names. The second example is eat prasad. The first expression is generally a terrible experience, chanting. And the second the second expression is typically overindulgence. So basically, both of these expressions are either acceptance or rejection. Prasad is like, yeah, I can take one more. But you're full, no? For tomorrow. So that is bhoga aspect. Bhoga simply means acceptance. And tyaga means rejection. So japa, I just have to get over with my romance, you know. Get it done with. But today I have to chant a little more. Why? I took a while. The day after, back to where I was, the minimum requirement. So the experience is not so pleasant. It could help us become a little more tolerant. But acceptance is not as much there. So does not fall into that category of bhoga. It is more of tyaga aspect. So bhoga tyaga, bhoga tyaga, bhoga tyaga, bhoga tyaga. So how is it controlling the senses? There was someone who has become an expert at using the senses to the best possible ability is called a Goswami. And so Goswami can be called as someone who controls the senses, can be called. They know perfectly well how to use the sense of seeing, sight. Therefore, Goswami, just as Elon Musk is someone who sees an opportunity at advancing technology. You know, he's like, yeah, I'm going to take over this company and everyone is going to say bankrupt, bankrupt. But let me see 10 years from now. So we call it visionary. Basically, that means sight. So one who has become an expert at seeing opportunities and seeing what could be the consequence of using those opportunities is what we call as a visionary. Basically, it simply means a Goswami. It's a Goswami. What is that? Look at the example. You say a simpleton, a simple man, an ordinary citizen is walking down a dirt road and sees a small bamboo piece, hollowed out bamboo, a small piece. It's like, yeah, okay, it's there. That's, he just leaves it, walks ahead, and sees that there's a piece of string lying there on the road. It's like, yeah, okay, string. Leaves that, walks up ahead, and then sees a pumpkin, dried up pumpkin that is hollowed out from within. That is his Elon Musk moment. He's like, pumpkin, string, a piece of bamboo. Combine that together, and you get a musical instrument, stringed instrument. So immediately that person conceives of an idea that could sell, that could work. The Goswami. So Goswami is somebody who sees chanting beads, sees prasad, sees harmonium, sees the deity, and then has a vision. Vision is morning, finish your rounds. After that, worship the deity, accompany with kirtan, and then take prasad. And then we come up with a morning program. Visionary. So we have downloaded the app. Does it work for us? Typically, apps work for us, but we also give data that is used by the person who's developed the app to sell our data and make money from it. So the developer has more fun than we are having. Similarly, the visionary has typically more realizations than we, who simply follow the money. So we all have to be Goswamis. Prabhupada would say that all of us has to become a Goswami. How is that? Use these tools that we have in a very rational manner. Don't simply go by propaganda. Yeah? Like there's a story of a devotee. He was a devotee of Lord Jagannath. But he did not have Indian citizenship. Lived close to the city of Jagannath Puri, but did not have the local citizenship. So couldn't enter the temple, right? Jagannath Puri, Jagannath temple. In today's times, if you're an Indian citizen or if you are an affiliate of an Indian citizen, so that is who gets to enter the temple, correct? Basically, they call only Hindus, so affiliates, like that. So even if you are a practicing Christian in India, you could still enter the temple. But if you are practicing Hindu, that does not have an affiliation, you cannot. Oh, no. You are a foreigner. You cannot enter. So that is how this devotee could not enter Jagannath's temple. But he would want to offer mangoes to the Lord. So he got a basket full of mangoes. He stood outside the temple. This a temple like this. Here there is no shikhar. Dome, typically. What is a shikhar called as? What is it called as? No, Gopuram is different. Not in English. English, do you understand what is Gopuram? Sorry? Tower. Like a chapel has that spire. It's a spire, right? A chapel would have that. So a temple also has a shikhar. A dome-like structure or a spire. So, and at the top of that, typically, Jagannath's temple would have a chakra, Sudarshan chakra. So he takes up one mango and holds it up in his hand and says, Dasya, yeah, that is his name. Bauri, Dasya Bauri. My dear Lord, please have these mangoes. And the mango would disappear. And he wasn't even charging anyone for this show, like, hey, let me show you magic. He just offered. And in this way, he offered all the mangoes to the Lord, standing on the street without entering the temple. Now, some people are like, what is happening? And then the pujaris, the priests inside the temple, they are like really concerned. They are trying to find out how did this happen? Because all around the altar are mango skins and mango seeds. It's as if somebody had eaten these mangoes, the pulp. Don't eat the skin, right? We discard the skin. So it's just been trashed there. Jagannath in India is very Indian. So it doesn't go directly into the trash can. So it was all scattered around the altar. People are running out. Who has done this? Who has done this? Is like in daylight, in broad daylight. How did this happen? How did this happen? So the news comes outside the temple complex. And then a few people good at math, they could connect the dots, right? 2 and 2. They could connect that 2 plus 2. Hey, what? Well, he was offering mangoes from here. So they did the DNA testing of those mangoes. Okay. To see if it belonged to the same variety, the same species. And you know what? It was. And then they did fingerprinting. And it had the fingerprints of Dasya. They did not know about that. But the conclusion was that the Lord accepted it. Goswami knows how to use the senses. It turns to be a mystical experience for others, except for the person doing it. The person did not feel it was mystical. The person is like, yeah, I know what the Lord takes. And they asked him, how? Well, I have heard, I'm not very learned, because I'm a simple person. I'm not very learned. If I have not read the scriptures, but I've heard that the Lord has hands everywhere. That is what all of you learned people speak, right? That the Lord has hands everywhere. So I just accept that. If the Lord has hands everywhere, obviously I offer, the Lord takes it. There's a problem. The problem is that why don't these stories happen quite often? They do not happen quite often because they are not sufficiently qualified Goswamis. These stories are only about people who have controlled their senses. They are able to do it. Hence, we have a few instances of such historical events, few instances. So Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, therefore, he is advising Arjuna that, hey Arjuna, this is what you have to become. You have to have expertise in beings. And how to do that? Krishna says in the 8th chapter, Abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasa nanyagamina paramam purusham divyam yati parthanuchintayan. You know what is the translation? Translation is very interesting. It is the kind of translation that makes all of us very happy when we hear the translation. He who meditates on me as a supreme personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Partha, is sure to reach me. Whenever we hear the words, reach me, we are like, ah, now I know it. It rings a bell. It is very relatable. Now I know how to reach the Lord. But let us go to the Sanskrit and see how it has been stated. What does the Lord state? He says, Paramam Purusham Divyam, so is defined the goal as Paramam Purusham. Alright? And then Divyam. So there is a Purusha, who's Divyam, and Paramam. Purusha means person, a personality. Who's Divya? Divya means technically transcendental. Divya means someone who's very great, beyond our imagination. And Parama means supreme. What does Parama mean? In South India, we have Paramanna, Anna, rice. Yeah. It is a delicacy, so topmost Anna, supreme Anna. Yeah. So Paramam Purusham Divam Yati. This word has been translated as reaches. Partha Anuchintaya. So hey Partha, hey Arjuna. Who's Partha? Radhika, who's Partha? Do you know who's Partha? Is there somebody known as Partha in the other temple congregation? Who's Partha? No, I was looking at her but asking someone else. She's also random. Okay, Krishna Priya answered. Who's Partha? You know who's Partha? You know Partha, right? Arjuna? Oh. Alright. Do you know who's Arjuna? Who's Arjuna? Yeah, you know. Who's Arjuna? One of the Pandavas? Do you think you can introduce me to him? I'd like to be introduced to Arjuna, one of the Pandavas. You know him so well. Yes? If it is possible, would you like to introduce me to Arjuna? If it were possible, would you like to do that? Maybe? Maybe? Maybe. So now we just have to figure out how to get hold of Arjuna. Isn't it? How do you think we can get hold of Arjuna? Where do you think Arjuna would be? Right there. So where is Parth? What about the Pandava Arjun? Where do you think he would be? Where have you seen him? In a picture, in pictures. Sorry? In the Kurukshetra war. And who is he with? Do you have Krishna here? Where? There is Krishna here in this room. Everywhere. And anywhere in particular? On the altar. So where do you find Arjun? Maybe on the altar? Maybe you should ask Krishna, hey, where is Arjun? Would like to do that? Maybe? You should ask. There was this gentleman that came to my house and he said that he wants to get introduced to Arjun. I have to find out where is Arjun. So I don't know where Arjun is, but I know that he is generally with you, Krishna. So you can ask Jagannath next time. That be good? Yeah? Would everyone want to do that? So some XYZ wants to be introduced to Arjun. Krishna. Can you tell us what we can do? That is a very personal way, isn't it? So, Partha Anuchinte. The word Anu is interesting. Why is it interesting? What does Anu mean? Do you know anyone who's called his name is Anu? Anu Mataji? Anybody? Have you heard the word Anu? What is the meaning of the word Anu that you heard? Always. Okay. Follow? That is one of the meanings. Anugita. You heard that? Or Anurup. Where is it? Anuja. What is Anuja? Younger brother. How so? Because his birth followed the birth of the older one. That's correct. Here, this word Anu is interesting. Anu also means always. So Anu Chintayan. Chintayan. But here, the word Chintayan is in relationship to Purusha, who's Divyam and Paramam. Typically, when we remember Krishna, it is always out of need. Alright? Isn't it? My dear Lord, please help me to chant nicely today. My dear Lord, please take care of us. Sometimes we are like, occasionally like that, but typically it is out of our need. So Anuchintayan, here it is being advised by Krishna that one must constantly remember Krishna as the Lord that is supreme and transcendental. That's not very difficult. Is it difficult? Seems it is difficult. Why? Because Krishna says, Abhyasa yoga yukti. Only if you practice sincerely, then it is possible. Otherwise, the only approach that we are left with, we cut off all options. We lose our options. And the only options we are left with are that whenever I'm in need, I pray to Krishna. Give me some instances where you prayed to Krishna in the last couple of weeks. Anyone? If you have done that, you will take a good. Okay. Yes, Mataji, and then
Devotees were sick. We went for yatra and we returned. Still, some devotees were sick. So yesterday we prayed to Mohan that take away their get back to their services. Please come.
okay, you did that prayer. Thank you. Yes, you had it. You wanted to give an example. You had a hand
Oh,
up.
yeah. So we recently went like on a plane trip, share some tests, and we were just praying that we have a safe trip.
Safe
Because
trip.
it was like very so,
Yeah. So you see, the only options that we have allowed ourselves to access Krishna is when we are in need. Therefore, here, Anuchintayan, in reference to Paramam Purusham Divyam, is so very important. It is important but easily overlooked. And how is it possible? How would that be possible that we can at least begin to accept the option of remembering Krishna as Paramam Divyam? Forget about consistently, but at least occasionally we can do that. More than what we think we are doing. So, Chetasa na annigami. When a mind is not diverted, is not distracted, Chetasa, basically it's consciousness. The mind would, it would translation. Na anya gamina. Mind is not distracted, the mind is not running all over the place. The material mind runs all the places trying to make us feel comfortable. Therefore, the material mind is always searching for all those things that can help me be comfortable. Hence, the material mind is all over. How can there be consistency? Anuchintaya. To be a Goswami, this could be helpful. And who's a Goswami? One who knows the perfect utilization of the senses to its utmost potential. Yeah. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions? First here, then Shikumar, and then Mataji. Is it all right? Because that's how, okay, the mic is come to you. No, the mic is come to you, I guess. Oh, there's a mic there, sorry. Yeah, first. Yes, Prabhu.
You have the senses. You talk about senses and sense objects. Let's say if somebody is too much gratifying their senses, does the senses become blunt?
So the question is, if too much is, if someone is too much into sense gratification, does it blunt the senses? Does it make the senses become lazy? Is that a hope? Expression of hope. Well, as I said, the senses are called as Indriya. The senses have been developed very perfectly. They've been developed to do their job. And they are programmed to constantly update themselves. So today, if the eyes are watching words in the print form, tomorrow if you bring the digital form, the eyes automatically upgrade themselves from print to digital. You don't have to go to some ophthalmologist or some person like, hey, can I have a patch update? So that is the perfect. That is why Krishna in the Gita says, Devi Esha Gunamayi Manamaya. Material energy that I have created, he simply says energy. Esha, this energy of mine, is Devi. It's perfect. So senses, they do their job. They never get blunted, never blunt. It's not, they never become lazy. Their consciousness can express itself in terms of being excited or lazy. For example, if a child is trying to get your attention and is pulling at your dress, and if you are already very agitated, there will be a sharp retort. What? Why? Because your consciousness is in that zone. But let's say you're on a very important call. It's like life or death. Either you could lose your job if you're not careful, or you could lose your family or something like that. Not in terms of, but your family could just leave you and go away. You're on a call on the phone, and this child is tugging at your dress. You're like, yes, you're there in that conversation. So that is the interaction between senses and sense objects. Your consciousness understands it in different ways. So does this get blunt? No. Is that all right? So too much sense gratification affects our consciousness. We ourselves are not aware what is the threshold for us in terms of expression of being enthused or being done. We don't know our own threshold for that. Because we don't care, I guess. So whenever it seems that, oh, today I'm not interested, it's basically that I've reached a threshold for today. The senses are still interacting. Okay? Yeah. Any other, yes, second question. Shikmar, you had, and then Mataji. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Actually, thank you for bringing in the aspect of respecting our senses. I really appreciate that, especially the Archman example that you gave. Generally, I do art just without even thinking, but thank you for bringing that perspective into the picture. And then later on, you went and actually explained that the senses is the best. I mean, it is Goswami is one who knows it the best, but then you gave us the example of Elon Musk, and I got a little confused because I didn't see in that direction. I was thinking maybe there's something more added to it, like Goswami is someone who's utilizes the senses to the best for something, and then finally you touch that it to maximize it to its maximum potential. And I was still thinking that there is something. Is it that a Goswami is one who is able to utilize his senses to the maximum potential for the pleasure of Krishna? Because it could be for our own pleasure.
So give me an example from your life.
Like for example, Elon Musk itself. Like do you think?
I'm not saying that he's a Goswami who's, using the senses for. I'm just saying he's a Goswami.
But
Does it mean that a Goswami only has to be someone who's serving Krishna?
till now, that was my thought. That's where.
So let us go to Sanskrit and its understanding. One of the understandings, or we can say the best understanding of Goswami is this. But can it also mean somebody who's just controlled the senses? Can you call a Mayavadi sannyasi also a Goswami? Can we or can we not?
Yes, you can. Yeah, you can. But looking at, because I am from the tech world, but I consider, I don't know, but I still feel that we're all like on that materialistic platform. So adding a Goswami word to.
No, I never said.
Oh.
I said I'm just giving an example. You can go back to the recording. Yeah, I never said that he's a Goswami. I said let me give you an example of what it means to be able to control your senses. Visionary. So when I was going through that aspect of our presentation, I used the word visionary. Yeah. So he's considered to be visionary. Yes, he is a Goswami. Specifically, is that he is a Goswami. Tomorrow there will be controversy if I say that. So I was in my senses.
So just to add, complete that only. So the Goswami is one who's able to control his senses, or no, who is able to utilize his senses to the maximum potential in relation to the Supreme Personality, or just we stop there to the maximum potential.
To the maximum potential. I said for us. See, everyone, we are not stuck on being Goswamis, no? We want to be servants of Krishna. So ultimately, a Goswami also has to serve Krishna. So a servant of Krishna can be a Goswami, may not be a Goswami. May not even have control of the senses, but because they're serving Krishna, the senses are not distracted to material elements.
Thank you.
So they don't have to practice to be a Goswami. Is that helpful?
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, Mataji, you had a question.
Thank you so much. So you have explained that seva and puja are different. So could you please explain more on this, Prabhu?
I said puja is where we accept and feel grateful for someone's contribution in our life. Therefore, we offer puja, that kind of gratitude to our parents. We offer it to the elders. We offer it to defense persons. Right? So, one way of respecting, one way of doing puja is when you stand up for them. That's puja. So similarly, we also offer puja to the Supreme Lord, because the Supreme Lord has also contributed everything within our lives. We offer puja to the Supreme Lord too. However, in terms of the Supreme Lord, we also want to give a contribution to the Supreme Lord. So we never use the term seva for synonymous with puja. So for Krishna, as Vaishnavas, we always say Krishna seva. So even if it is we are offering puja, we say this is seva. Do we like to offer seva to the Lord? Do we say we want to offer puja to the Lord? We don't say. So seva means this is, even though we are offering puja, we are accepting that they have contributed to our lives right now. My intent is to contribute unto them. Whether they need it or not, whether they are not needed, whether they are in a need for it or not. But I have the opportunity, therefore I should contribute. That is seva.
Thank you so much.
All right. Hence, in the Vedic literatures, if you see somewhere where there is Devata Puja, basically it just means that hey, they contributed in our lives and therefore we. The scriptures say, do Deva Puja there. Okay? And wherever they think Krishna is also Devata, they may say, okay, do Deva Puja for Krishna. So hence I said, we, because we understand Krishna to be the Supreme Lord, we always address any kind of offerings to Krishna as Seva. Yes.
Hey Krishna, Hare Krishna. This is Shri Prabhu. So I just had a follow-up to Sri Kumar Prabhu's question. So one can practice to be a Goswami and control their senses, but even on the path of bhakti, if we're serving Krishna and rendering devotional service unto him, even if we're not a Goswami, the senses are not distracted by other things, and so either way, we're still in control of the senses.
There is active control and passive control. So the Goswami is someone who's learned the art of doing both. Typically, it is actively in the passive mode. So they are aware that passively the senses are controlled. But someone who's not a Goswami has been overpowered by Krishna's energy, becomes attracted towards Krishna. So this is totally passive.
Yeah, so like either way, we're still going to be in that direction.
Hopefully. Because we have to be consistently doing it. All right? Yeah. Anything else? Any other questions or comments? Afternoon? Okay, yes.
Like you said, you talked about there's like Devata worship, like puja, right? Why don't you like acknowledge the stuff like the Daitya did in service to like the Lord and like what they did contribute to the Lord? Why do you only contribute puja to like the Devata and not to the Daityas who kind of also like balance in life?
The Daityas are a clan of people that are not officially recognized as administrators. Devatas are officially the administrators. So they are supposed to be administering things. The Daityas can also contribute. There's nothing wrong with them trying to do it. However, when we do Deva Puja, we are acknowledging their contribution in terms of them being the administrators of the universe.
So basically, worship onto them is technically doing, like acknowledging their contribution.
It's like acknowledging contribution of the government. So they are the government. The Daityas are not. They are like NGOs. Those who are their positive contribution in society, they are like non-governmental organizations. Right? So wherever needed, we do say that, yeah, they have contributed. But in the generic sense, it is always their puja. Okay. Yeah.
Krishna consciousness is a dynamic process. And we also say, it's ever fresh. And Krishna is Navayavan. The adjective used is Navayavan. And in my own experience in talking, my question, sometimes I feel lazy in Krishna consciousness. Maybe fatigue takes over me. Maybe because of time, the number of years being in the moment. How do you overcome this laziness? How do you overcome this fatigue? It overpowers me sometimes. I want to be enthusiastic, and I want to feel ever fresh. I want to feel inspired in Krishna consciousness. Don't be, the negative things that attack my mind and everything. I want to keep it away from my mind. I want to be more positive, not negative.
Generally, if we are not very proactive, then material nature does it for us. She gives us another growth. Start fresh, new processor. Because your processor, all the silicon in it is fatigued. So it cannot be used anymore. So you need a new processor. So typically that is what material nature does. Now, Kaumara Achilya Pragya is very important that we have to pick up philosophy very early in life. Why? Because then we don't have many bad sectors on our hard drive. Sometimes the bad sectors, all you can do is contain those sectors. There's no way you can recover those sectors. So starting very early in our life is important. However, whenever the day dawns for us, it's a new day. So that is one understanding. That fatigue is because of bad sectors that we have gotten on our hard drives. Where did they come from? Overuse in certain ways which are not recommended. So whenever our data, our senses come in contact with those sectors, they have to put an impression on those sectors, they cannot access those. The more you want to try to access the centers, it becomes fatigue, you get fatigue. So that is the reality of life. However, the silver lining is that Krishna is pleased even with the offering. So even if one of the sectors is properly functioning and we are able to offer it in devotion to Krishna, Krishna says, okay, acceptable. How do we come to that platform? For that, we have to use our intelligence. We cannot simply come to classes and kind of just take away a good feeling of having received a good message. Only with tapasya it happens. That is what Brahmaji had to do, and after Brahmaji, everyone in this creation has to do tapasya. But not that tapasya is different in different generations. So not that kind of tapasya, the kind we hear thousands of years Brahma was doing. But tapa means being able to say yes to that which is needed and no to that which is distraction. And they will do that, despite having so many bad sectors. Program should work. But if you're thinking that maybe I can take someone else's application and install it on my system, this is a very customized process, individually customized process. You have to have your own operating system that you have developed. You can take guidance of how to develop your own OS, but it has to be your own OS. You have to fly your own plane. Everyone has to fly their own plane. Now imagine we have a drive that has bad sectors and we are trying to install an operating system on it. There are chances that sometimes there can be syntax error. Sorry, there was some error here. IO error, I guess. Bias error could be there. What can I do? Either we try to just develop the expertise of being so consistent that all our work can be imprinted on the good sectors of our domain. So we need intelligence for that. Discrimination, figure out where are the bad sectors, where are the good sectors, see if the program can be installed there. Or we wait for material energy to give us another clean drive. I would suggest not to do it this lifetime because the previous lifetime, that is probably the mistake that we did. The previous lifetime, maybe we just accepted that material energy. Next life, I will try to do better. We may not remember doing that, but most probably, but there is a probability that that could happen in the case. That is why we are here right now. So let's work, do some tapasya, find ways to work consistently, knowing very well that we are going to have our own individual hurdles, because those bad sectors have been created. Our past activities has created ways that we have opportunities. Like if rasam is there, Krishna. But if chole is there, like, no, today is North Indian Krishna. So what can we do? That is a sector that we have created on our heart. Right? Now, if you are raised up, like some of the children, they have been raised up in Krishna consciousness, it's not chole or rasam for them, it's all prasad. But for us, it is still rasa, chole. See? So those are the bad sectors that we have. Those are our impressions from the past that we have. That is what makes us Alright. Let's stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.